Okay. All right. So good afternoon, everybody. This is the second go round, the open forum, actually the round table on IA 2.0, which is known as Atlas, and that's how I'll refer to it from now on, as Atlas. And I've invited Rob Heather to start this off a little bit. And the reason being is Rob was on the committee, the tech committee, that was queried about all this and the different upgrades, et cetera. So Rob, if you can go ahead and unmute and just give us a couple of minutes of background.
All right, no problem. So just to clarify, Mark, is this the same group as yesterday, or is this like a second group, additional people?
Second group. The only person that's here from yesterday is Don.
Okay, gotcha. All right, gang. Hi there. Yeah, basically the rollout of this new Atlas started several months back, and before I got involved, it had actually had picked up quite a bit of steam. When I got involved, we had a group of agents, district directors, several people from corporate within the IT department and all. And the whole point was to really just kind of give them some feedback on the initial layout and formats that they were putting together. Most of what you're seeing today was already in place. And you probably have noticed that a lot of it is it's just migration from what it used to be into a new format. You'll find as we get into our conversation today that there's a lot of pieces that did not migrate properly. Some didn't migrate at all. There's also a lot of very good positive things in it. But the whole premise was to create an environment where agents have essentially a one-stop shopping environment to work in. They can go there, whether it's to upload documents, check and see what their stock scenario is, to do training, to order signs, to go into their CRM and work their marketing programs. And you didn't have to go from one login to another and open up different sites to do it. And that's pretty much was the main concept. And of course, to do it effectively well, so that it had you had a lot of the functionality of it stayed in place. And I think there are some shortcomings where that is, and that'll probably come out in the conversation here as we proceed. But that was the overall concept of what we were doing as a group. I found that we gave a lot of input, and from what I could see, the input that we put in, if it was something that was significantly different that was already in place, didn't really get applied. Now, that doesn't mean it's not going to be. It just simply means that it didn't get applied in this initial version that we're seeing. And I do believe that as time progresses, we're going to see updates. We're going to see newer additions, and the issues that we're having problems with now, I think, are going to eventually be worked out. So again, the whole goal was to provide agents with, and we talked about this. This is one of my things, a more efficient, time-saving process. And it has actually done the opposite in certain aspects of it. But I do believe those are going to be corrected. And I want to add one thing that I didn't say yesterday, but one of the key elements of what we're doing as a company is we are creating what will hopefully and eventually be kind of an industry type of standard that agents would want to use and therefore come to us from other brokerages. But also, I think the intent is to possibly package this, what we're doing, and use it as another revenue aspect for the organization as a whole. And if we can do that, and if that can do well, then that's another way that we can see the value of the company grow. So I don't think it's just simply a one facet type of a program. I believe there's a lot of multiple issues that they were hoping come out of this, and a lot of positives. So time is going to say, I do believe, after kind of digesting some of the conversation yesterday, I do believe, based on out of the conversations that I had, we are going to see this improve, and it's going to improve progressively. I don't think it's going to happen overnight, but I also don't think it's something that's never going to happen. I think we're going to see this, and it's going to constantly be molded and shaped, and it'll have to adjust to industry standards and agent needs and so on. But that was it. So basically, you guys now have seen what the product of that was. And I am by far, I am not an IT guy at all. But I think that just going through it and everything, I believe the initial goal that they were hoping for has been achieved. And moving forward, it is going to be getting better as we go.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Rob. And yeah, that just to clarify a little bit. So we and not to clarify, but to add on to what Rob was saying is that, hold on a second, got to bring Tom in. That one of the things that is being looked at with this is that it will enable us to have something that is also scalable and sellable. That Fathom Holdings, of which Fathom Realty is a part, will be able to sell this to other brokerage companies in a scaled back version. So that if, a major brokerage says, hey, I'd like that, we say to them, we're a smaller brokerage or mid-sized brokerage. Well, yeah, you can have that. And here's the cost. And go, no, we want everything. We go, no, you don't get everything. There's certain parts that we'll put in there that we can sell to you and that will help you, but you don't get everything. That's only for Fathom agents. So that would in some ways whet the appetite of other agents to come to Fathom. But also the idea is that if we sell some of this technology, that what that allows us to do as Fathom Holdings is increase our value system-wide. So that and I'm just picking numbers because this is not something that was given to me. Okay. But if there's a percentage of companies, real estate companies that use this, a modified or a scaled down platform, that is going to increase the value of Fathom Holdings. It's going to increase the value of our stock, which therefore is going to increase our investment in the company. Okay. But it's not going to be everything gets, that we can sell it in its prime version. That's not the case. It's a value added. Okay. All right. I know Don had some things from yesterday, but I know that TJ and JD have been working on some things. But what I want to do is I want to initially ask Charlie Gramick if he has any. Have you used Atlas at all so far, Charlie?
I have only used it for visiting the academy,
Okay.
watching videos.
Okay.
And actually, I watched the video on that you put up there. You put a couple of them up there, and that's it. I haven't used the CRM aspects of it yet.
Okay.
Just haven't had
Right.
time to get into it, but
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it because I didn't like the last one. I thought it was more trouble than it was worth, but maybe this one will be more advantageous for me to use.
Yeah. And it's funny, Charlie, in conversations with different people when I've been recruiting, et cetera, they'll go, you have KV Core. I love KV Core. That's fantastic. And I get other people to go, why am I going to go use KV Core? I hate it right now when I use it. Why would I join you and use K? It's like, okay, guys, it's like split right down the middle.
Yeah.
Ava, have you used it at all? I know a lot of what you're not new to Fathom, you're not new to real estate, but much of what you've done is in Maryland.
So I used in the past Vericon, and it was difficult.
Okay. Well, and the idea is go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was kind of difficult.
Well, and part of it, like Rob is saying, is to streamline the login, the abilities to have everything and I use this analogy sort of in one file cabinet. When you go, oh crap, what do I want to do? I got to go on the website. It's the same login as the CRM, as the transaction management, as getting our files and things like this. So I know that TJ and JD, you had some input that I've listened to and read, and I'd sort of like some ideas and thoughts from you. You guys mud wrestle as to who goes first.
Army, Navy.
All right, Navy first. Here we go.
Go for it, TJ.
Yeah, so I have a lot of hope for it. I like the idea of consolidating everything. So far, all I've really used is obviously the transactions piece, which works. I've messed with the website stuff to get my website nice and updated. That all migrated over for the most part. But I tend to have a lot of patience for this because, you know, being in DoD, as most of us have been, we've gone through migrations, right? It takes time. It takes error correction, trial and error. But it's also, you know, at one point I was thinking about starting a tech company. So I've researched a lot into what it takes to roll out something new. And in order for it to be profitable for the company, you don't want to put all your efforts into development and to get all of the features working right away. It's not profitable to do that. You want to roll out the main features first. And then, you know, if it becomes profitable and with more feedback, then you roll out the next feature and the next feature. That's the more profitable way to do it. So I kind of have a lot of patience for the way this is going and have a lot of hope that it'll work out and it'll be profitable for Fathom and that it works for everyone.
Okay. All right. JD, I know you've done
I
this
have a lot of
very
hope for it.
Okay. JD, I know you've put a lot of research into this and I've read your notes and I've seen your spreadsheet, et cetera. So what are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's fair that I kind of preface my approach on this. I want to make sure that this doesn't come across emotional. It's strictly metrics. I will start my conversation out by it absolutely, undeniably does not do anything that I need it to do for me right now. I'll just put it on the plate right there. Now I'll quantify that. And I mean, I've managed development efforts. I've written stories. I've managed development teams. So I understand the concept of rollouts, parallel rollouts, phased, et cetera. So I'm tracking how they can do this. And I don't care. I am not wedded to KV Core. Let's start with that. I am not a KV Core evangelist. I am a CRM evangelist. Right. I don't care what CRM I use as long as the functionality that I need to effectively systematize my business is in place. Right now, I have an effective systemization through KV Core to the scope that I expect it to be. I cannot equate 10% of that functionality right now in iA20.
So you're not seeing any of the functionality that you carry from KV Core into Atlas?
I'm seeing it where it looks like it's going to be in place, but I have not seen it work since it has been released. I have multiple tickets in to have some of that functionality going, and it hasn't been fixed. It's been, well, since rollout, the tickets have been submitted. But yeah, to this date, if I was to turn KV Core off today and start with iA20, I would effectively shut down my entire marketing strength. And mind you, my entire repetitive touches to my database. I would lose contact with my database.
And can you, and I'm not challenging you, JD.
No, that's fine.
I'm trying to understand why that is so that we can, because like I said, this video is going to be sent to home office so that they can see it. So aside from your tickets, can you explain that?
I was hoping you'd ask. I don't just throw something out there without quantifying and qualifying. Okay, so for starters, I was with, as an example, I was with EXP before I came to Fathom. They run KV Core. I was with them for just a little over a year, and I had a very strong repetitive behavior pattern built on my database. Views, etc., touches, continuous going. And so when I moved from KV Core to Fathom, or from EXP to Fathom, I lost all of that because of unfortunately, the way that they migrated me. So I had to start all new as of November last year. So now I'm starting to get that built back up. I've got to renew all that, but I have nearly 20 campaigns going in KB Core right now that are a mixture of text and emails. I spent a lot of time formatting those emails, and I had multiple coaches and such help me build those campaigns. They have not. I lost them. I have nothing in IA 2.0. They initially came over partially. They came over in a partial manner. I lost all of my emails. The texts came over, but when I submitted the ticket, apparently they went in and wiped all of my campaigns out, and I haven't seen anything come back in yet. They tell me that tech is working on it. But those campaigns are built on trigger mechanisms by which I have both Google ads and Facebook ads running, where I am continuously filling in real estate content and ads in those two marketing medias. And I have Zaps, I have APIs built going into KV Core, letting me know when new leads start or when new leads are initiated off of my ads. And those kick off my campaigns based on the ad that I have running. It might be a, just browsing campaign. It might be, want to buy now campaign. It might be the median price campaign for the area. It might be luxury campaign for the area. It's whatever ad they hit, I have triggered with hashtags that come in and turn my campaigns on. That I do not see. So regardless of whether the campaigns moved over, I do not see the functionality of those campaigns to build those in IA 2.0. I am confident that that is an intention, because that's a basic CRM functionality over any CRM that you look in the market. So I'm sure that it's in there as a feature.
Can I ask you a quick question? Can you go back?
Yes, please,
Because I'm
Mark.
writing some of this down. So the ad, so what was the last thing you went over that you have been lost?
Lost all my campaigns.
Right. And you said it's triggered by your ads, that's gone. And then you were talking
It
about
triggers.
something else was triggered.
Yeah, so once the ads, when a lead or when a person accesses one of my leads or one of my ads, that lead captures their information, or that ad captures their information and pulls them into my KV Core. Based on the ad that they interrogated, it will kick off a certain campaign, and that campaign is designed to approach them based on what their interests were. And so I've lost that. So I've lost not only lost the campaign, but the API, the Zapier API that IA 2.0 has, does not function. I tried to turn it on, early on to see if it was going, but it does not function. Zapier doesn't like it, so it won't work. So I can't even run campaigns parallel right now to see if they're, to see how it works. I wanted to do that comparison.
And Zapier is not, you're saying it's not compatible with Atlas.
The Zapier key that Atlas provides right now is not, Zapier does not recognize it. Therefore, you can't turn a Zap on.
Okay. All right. Okay.
That's the first thing. The next thing is property alerts. When I pull a lead in, I turn them automatically on to a property alert if they're, again, based on the areas that they're interested in and such. Obviously, you can do that with Bright, but I don't touch Bright alerts until they become, a real elite or a client. I let my bottom line is, I don't necessarily engage with a client until, or with a lead until they engage with me. I let the system do that discussion with them, because a lot of them have turned out to just be looky-loos, and if they're interested, they'll respond. My campaign's designed for them to at least respond saying, no, I'm not interested, or yeah, it sounds good, just a simple response.
And so is that with the IDX through the new website?
I'm going to get to that in a minute. That's not through the IDX with website. No. The property alerts are capability, is a functionality within KV Core, and it's also within IA 2.0 as neighborhood alerts. But for whatever reason, again, took it in on this, the neighborhood alerts are not functioning. It doesn't react as designed or displayed in the video. I can't get any properties to pop up. My property alerts did transfer over, but I can't from KV Core, but I can't turn them on because it's not working.
So let me say something about that real quick. I am actually tilting at that windmill right now, because if you go into Live By, one of the things it
Have a problem
says,
with
I haven't
it.
checked it in the last few days, but one of the things it says is that, hey, we recognize you as a member of Bright, but part of this group is covered by CVMLS and CAR, and you may not get all the information. And I said to them, no, that's not true. What, CVMLS and CAR cover completely different areas. And so I'm in a little bit of a struggle right now over that. So if you see that notification, understand I'm working on it.
I appreciate that, Mark. I've kind of played around with Live By, but I haven't had a chance to really pull that thread. But I do have an issue with Live By. I have not submitted any tickets because it's not pinnacle to anything that I'm doing. But I am unable to perform property searches in Live By based on my area. It's probably relates to what you're talking about.
You are or are not?
Are not. So when you get to you had mentioned the web pages. So KV Core allows you to build squeeze pages, which are just quick 10-minute generations of a concept and marketing concept that is designed to elicit somebody's interest. So if you for instance, if you're worried about selling farms, you can just generate a quick squeeze page based on all Northern Virginia farm, follow this lead to go to all Northern Virginia farms, and your squeeze page allows you to generate a search profile that it's designed to generate the interest, have them ask the question, and then you post those to your marketing avenues. And then again, those turn into ads, which pull the leads back into your web page, which pulls them into your KV Core. I don't even see that functionality in IA 2.0. So I'm not sure. If it's a future feature or what, but it's not available. You're on mute still, Mark.
Is all this, I thought I'd push it, but I ended up pushing something different. Is all this in the spreadsheet that you sent?
I think I put that in as a feature. I'm not sure if I put that in as a feature. I didn't put that in as a trouble ticket, because if it's not there, it's not fair to call it a trouble ticket. I put several features in. I'll have to double check if I put that in.
Do me a favor, and you'll understand how I'm saying this. I'm not trying to cut you off, but make sure that's all together, including the squeeze pages, etc. I would put it in as a trouble ticket, because whether it's supposed to be there or not, somebody has to be cognizant of it. So if you can do that and send it back to me, that'd be great.
Yeah, no, when I say trouble ticket or feature, their help desk is designed where you can submit a ticket or a feedback or recommendation, and that's I separate them such, because I don't need them wasting their time on a feature right now. I want them to make sure they get tickets taken care of first.
Right, but what I'm looking at, JD, is I'm forwarding all this. And so your spreadsheet, even if you check should be, you know, applicable in KV Core, not applicable in Atlas, that's fine, because what I'm trying to do is be an advocate for everybody in, look, this is going to sound terrible. I don't care about anybody else. I mean, it's trashy, but I don't care about anybody else. I got 100 people that I have to worry about, and I'm worried about that. And so, you know, I'm more focused on, hey, what is happening to my agents, to our offices, Warrenton and Prince William Fairfax? What is happening? What are you guys seeing, and what do you want? Now, my guess, and this is conjecture on my part, is that if we're seeing this or we're having problems, there's 7,000 agents in this firm, okay, nationwide. Somebody else has to be having to do that. And if we go, well, I'm not going to put that in there because it's not a feature and I don't want to screw things up, and everybody does that, later on somebody will go, well, why didn't you ask? So I want it comprehensive.
I'll get it in. I'll get it in. Yep.
Okay. All right.
So I can go down a number of things, but I think the point is made.
So this is my understanding. If I can grasp it, and Rob, I know that, you know, you're listening in. The idea, what seems to be the main focus and the big driver for problems within Atlas is not transaction management. That's pretty much the same that we've been doing in IA. Okay. It's not finding out, although sometimes it's a little more hidden than we're used to, where to order documents or signs or anything, the marketing end. What it really comes down to is the functionality. And this is what I'm hearing, the functionality and the marriage of moving from KV Core into Atlas, moving them together so that the functionality from KV Core and what you guys are using is needed to continue with Atlas, because although the idea is at one roof, if the outhouse isn't, if the bathroom isn't working, there's only one bathroom, it doesn't matter. The bathroom's not working, and so we're all screwed. Is that about pretty much the way it is? It's that interface, not the stuff that we've had before, but the new stuff, the interface from our old system of website and CRM into the new.
Hey, Mark, if I may,
Yeah.
I think part of this and what JD's talking about and what I've noticed myself is, you know, when you take the stuff that Fathom has built, I'm going to say IntelliAgent and, you know, the websites and Fathom Academy and so forth, and putting all that under one roof, that was pretty easy. But trying to build a CRM, trying to build a marketing system that delivers these campaigns, just the process and the time to build them is one thing. And then in addition to that, we're trying to take what we have in KV Core and move that over as seamlessly as possible from a KV Core built system to a Fathom built system. And I'm going to say Neighborly or who else was bought up and was part of that development process. You know, they're trying to, you know, one, recreate the functionality, but also be able to bring that data over. And those are two big challenges and two big tasks. The easy stuff was IA. The easy stuff is, you know, putting the links in there to the other stuff we're used to. The challenge is this. The other thing is, I don't think that in my conversations and what I'm hearing in these two BSOFs we've had, by the way, I love that BSOF, is that there are not very many agents that are really using the CRM, and even fewer who are really using the marketing tools. So for those agents, for the rest of the agents, like, well, this works pretty well, you know, because it does work pretty well. IA works, but for anybody who's really strongly using the CRM capabilities or the marketing capabilities, that's where those of us are the ones seeing the shortcomings.
And so what I do remember being told on a couple of occasions, and JD, you touched on this, is that the campaign, this is what I was told, okay? The campaigns from KV Core were moving over into Atlas. But when they moved, so that there wasn't a campaign going with KV Core and a campaign with Atlas, they were moved over to be I just went right out of my, basically in a wait and see status. You have to activate them. So they're there, they're just not running, so that you have to actually go into KV Core and say stop, and into Atlas and say start.
Mhm.
No, that's not, well, that may have been, but it is not now. They aren't even in. So here's the sequence of events on the campaigns. They did move my campaigns over. I did see the names of the campaigns. They correlated across. But again, like I said, my campaigns in KV Core are a mix of texts and email and action and tasks. The only parts of the campaigns that moved over were the texts. The emails did not, the email actions inside a campaign did not move over.
Okay.
Or I had to rebuild all of those. And there's about 11 to 14 individual email touches in 17 to 20 different campaigns, which means I would have had to do those times each, redo the whole thing.
Okay.
And if I have to do it, I have to do it, but I'm just, that's what happened.
Right. Okay.
So when I put the ticket in, it seems that they flushed out all of my campaigns, probably in an attempt that they are going to start over. So I don't even have the campaigns in there anymore right now. So,
Okay. And that becomes an impediment to you doing business, because they're not there to where you can even reconstruct them.
right.
Okay. All right. What else? Anybody else thoughts? As I said, this is being recorded, so I'm going to send this down to home office so that they can hear this. And you know, JD, I appreciate all the work and research that you've done on this. I know that it's time consuming, and it has also pulled you from other functions where you're making money, and I appreciate that. I just don't want you to think that it's going unrecognized.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I feel for Fathom, because honestly, this is a heavy lift. I have done a lot of research with other CRMs, and I've asked them, okay, how hard is it to transfer my profile over? And they all say, well, all of them that I've talked to, I've heard one that does, they don't transfer KV Core profiles over because they don't, they're structured such that they are very difficult to move over. So other CRMs don't do it. So I feel for Fathom.
Mhm.
I'm not dinging them. I understand the difficulty, but regardless, we still have to do run our business.
Right. Okay. All right. Any other thoughts or any other contributions that anybody want to make? Rob, do you have anything that you want to add or clarify or anything along those lines? He's probably drinking out of that Ranger coffee cup, I guess. I don't know. So anyway, all right.
I'm here. Sorry. I had to find the mute button, the unmute button again. So I just want to reiterate that this is a project in its infancy state. And it is something that someday we all hope will be an Olympic athlete. Right now, it's drooling on itself in a crib. And I think you need to keep that in perspective. I do not have a data development background, but I can tell you that my dogs are barking in the background, that's for sure.
Okay.
But I can tell you that this, yeah, maybe we were hoping it would roll out with less issues, but it was known that we were going to roll out with issues. And I will tell you that the number one concern is KV Core. And KV Core, quite honestly, the reason a lot of that stuff will not transfer over is KV Core doesn't want it to. They've structured it in a proprietary fashion that they own a lot of that data.
Yeah,
And that's
I
why
agree,
by
Robert.
doing that, less companies are going to go out there and try to develop their own and then leave KV Core. KV Core lost a lot of business when Fathom made this transition. And so you just got, it's in the end, I think that we do have to be patient. It can be very frustrating, especially if you're in the midst of lots of transactions and all of a sudden, and you've got a lot of things going and you've got clients in the works and they're getting ready to pull the trigger and boom, they all disappear on you. I can understand that. I mean, you know, but on the other side of it, you know, I'm a former military guy. The first thing that goes out the window the minute the first round is fired in combat is your plan. You know, you've got to adjust. And so if something has happened where you've lost some things and all, it's going to get better. But between now and then, you know, you've got to come up with a way to make it work. I mean, so that's my thought. It's just it will get better, gang. It will get better. This has been out what, a month? I mean, has it even been that long?
No.
So it's going to get better. It's going to get better. I have all the confidence in it, being on those calls and hearing the people who are involved. There's a lot of absolute sincere commitment on their part to make this work. And so,
yeah, what would have been awesome, Rob, and having a background in this, speaking from experience, you know, the first lieutenant, you know, in my experience, and then the captain, you know, that's what I do. And then as a warrant officer, the warrant officer comes in and he says, watch this, right? So it had I had 2 cents in the plan, I would have highly recommended and stomped my feet to do a parallel release while you keep KV Core in place and allow your agents that have a systematized process continue to function without hindrance, and then solicit us agents that utilize those functions to provide feedback and run and test the you know, take the goodness from KV Core and create it in IA and make it unique in IA, make it better, right? Because like, you know, Charles, like you said, yeah, I haven't used it. It really is. And a lot of KV Core people say that it's a pain in the butt. That's why I say I don't care what CRM you use, because there are CRMs out there that are much better than KV Core, and I'd jump ship in a heartbeat if it made sense. But I think IA, you can do that with IA. But I think if you had runway and fishbone capabilities, you know, in feature releases that you plucked out from your agents saying this is the best, you could focus on that and then phase out KV Core at a certain date.
Right.
That's what I would have done, and I would have, as an agent of Fathom, I would have appreciated that approach.
Well, I know that this is still a short time frame, but my understanding with everything that's going on is that our you know, that everything gets fully turned on February 16th. So it's a little less than a week. And then by February 19th, we're away from KV Core. So JD, I have not played with CRM. You weren't on here yesterday, and I've not done anything. I'm a terrible CRM guy, and I've got to do, now that, you know, I'm with, now that we have Atlas, I have to be a better player in that. I've started a couple of different times and it's sort of petered out, but that's going to change for me. But we at least have some time, in my understanding of the time frame, to be able to create that and maybe get some of these things turned on if they are actually a feature that is just not enabled yet. And that is one of the reasons why I'm doing this, is that if I can get this to home office and they go, holy crap, well, yeah, there's a lot of people that are talking about this nationwide. Let's press on with this. So only time will tell.
Mark, something you just said, though, has concerned me, and that is, you know, this February 16th and February 19th dates. So if February 16th is going to be a rollout of some additional capabilities or improvements or what have you, and February 19th is a hard stop on KV Core, that is a really small window. And,
Okay.
and I really feel like,
I'm real quick, I'm listening to you. I'm just trying to pull something up. Okay.
yep.
Go
And
ahead.
so in general, I think the window has been too small. And in general, I very much would have liked to have seen Fathom say, look, we're going to continue to provide AV Core, or at least have struck a deal with Inside Real Estate to provide a deeply discounted subscription, maybe for 3 months or 6 months, and give us this window, this time, so that we're not just, we've got a hard stop. And now for somebody like JD and other Fathom agents who do use those features that Fathom really wants us to take advantage of, you know, they're going to be at a loss. JD's going to be dead in the water on the 19th, as the way it stands right now. And I don't want to see somebody on my team or somebody in Fathom end up like that. So to me, if there could have been some interim measure, and that would have been to continue subscription to KV Core, that would have helped. That would help a lot of us. And so what we're looking at as a team is buying a subscription, which is unbelievably expensive. So I wish there would have been a negotiation of some sort so that we could have more of a transition period. And the majority of agents would have said, hey, you know, that's great. I don't need that because I'm not using all those capabilities. I'm going to learn the new stuff in Atlas. But for those like JD and some others, it's putting them in a tough spot.
Okay, I'm listening to you. I'm just looking for something here real quick.
And you know, Mark, as I've said before, when I came to Fathom, I've only been with Fathom for a little over a year, and I was really excited as soon as I came in, you know, hearing that, hey, there's going to be this one platform, everything, one place to go to. To me, that's what I want.
Right.
You know, this whole thing's been exciting. And then the delivery of it's been not so much because of the things
More
we need to do.
lukewarm for you than exciting.
Yeah. So.
Okay. All right. Anybody? By the way, Charlie, I have not picked on the Air Force, you know, out of consideration for you. So. All right. Anybody have anything else they want to go ahead and say before we go the our different ways for the rest of the day? All right.
Thanks
Well,
for giving us the opportunity, the platform, Mark.
All right. I appreciate everybody's information and what we've discussed. I'm going to go ahead and hold on. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now.